Well, look, on the issue of Husn adh-Dhann, I'm 52 years old. Okay, uh, I've been through a number of experiences. I've met people from all around the world in all different classes and all different backgrounds and so on. I've had, innumerable interactions with other human beings. Uh, so when I make an assessment of someone, when I make an assessment of what seems to me to be someone's motives, and I do an evaluation of their personality, that's based on all of my experience. Now, that's not to say that I'm suspicious about people, but I make a realistic assessment based on everything that I've ever learned about human behavior and what I know about myself. So, if I say, for example, that like now we're seeing this trend, right, of people converting to Islam, celebrities, influencers, and so on, uh, converting to Islam. I mean, it's since October 7th, it's almost become a social media strategy, how to go viral and how to build your audience by first suggesting that you might or that you're interested in Islam, so that then you pique the interest of Muslims who will then flood your comment section inviting you to Islam, and you see the potential, you see the audience potential of how you could take off, because the Muslims are active on social media and the Muslims are united in our support for anyone who comes to Islam. So you have a market demographic that's absolutely reliable, and it's huge. It's 2 billion people. So if you are if you pique the interest of Muslims, if you tease the idea that you're going to become a Muslim, then you will see your numbers, the views and the interactions on your social media posts and on your videos and so on. You'll see it skyrocket, absolutely skyrocket. Uh, Now, some people, I'm sure, some people are absolutely sincere, and even if when they come to Islam, they're not necessarily completely sincere when they start to come to Islam. Alhamdulillah, once you make Shahada, you are a Muslim. Maybe your iman is incomplete, but it's incomplete for all of us, and maybe hidayah, greater levels and degrees of hidayah will reach you, and you become a better and more serious Muslim, just like the Muslims who converted, or the Quraysh who converted at the Fath Mecca. They didn't necessarily mean it at that time. Some of them didn't necessarily mean it, and they just saw, well, this is the trend. It's unstoppable. Islam is an unstoppable force, so we may as well submit. And then subsequently, they became righteous Muslims. So my point is that if I identify that someone, like say for example, right now, Candace Owens, uh, she's starting to sort of tease the idea that she could come to Islam, because, in my opinion, the Daily Wire is just trying to cover all bases. They have obviously the crazy, radical, fanatic Zionists represented by Ben Shapiro, and now they also want to have the other side being represented by Candace Owens, because they didn't fire her. She's still on board. She's still, and then they've got obviously Jordan Peterson, maniac. But so they want to be able to appeal to all audiences, because they also know that Muslims are generally conservative. So Muslims may be, in fact, Muslims have shared a lot of Ben Shapiro's posts, and they used to be fans of Jordan Peterson until he started saying insane things about Islam and insane things about Muslims. So Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson have been a sticking point for Muslims. You hurt your audience. Because you had a Muslim audience for people like for organizations like the Daily Wire. They had a Muslim audience, and those are significant numbers, because we are generally conservative, socially conservative, and the same things that you people preach about, you conservatives, the same things that you preach about family values and whatnot, that appeals to us. So you have a Muslim audience, but then you alienated your Muslim audience by your radical Zionism. So you want to win back that audience by having someone like Candace Owens sort of tease the idea that maybe Islam isn't so bad, and she sort of apologizes to Muslims and whatnot and takes a seemingly pro-Palestinian position. So you're trying to cover all the bases and keep your audience. Now, you could say that I'm not exercising or practicing Husn adh-Dhann in that regard, with regards to someone like Candace Owens, or if I'm talking about anybody else, because as I said, I'm seeing all over social media people talking about Islam and making moves towards Islam and so on, because it's popular now. I mean, one of the reasons it's popular is obviously because of the heroic example of the noble people of Gaza. And of course, obviously, when you start reading about Islam, it does win you over if you have an open mind. If you're actually someone who is sincere about the truth, and you're an objective person, an intelligent person, then when you start to study Islam, it becomes an undeniable truth. It becomes undeniable. But either way, when I express a degree of cynicism about the motives of someone like Candace Owens, or someone who is a social media personality, or someone who's a celebrity, showing that they are interested in Islam, or interested in coming to Islam, and I say that there may be in their motivations concern for their audience, concern for their social media profile, you might think that that's not exercising Husn adh-Dhann. But look, that's just a realistic evaluation. Human beings are human beings. I was thinking about this. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, everyone is going to be saying Nafsi, Nafsi, myself, myself. That's all you're going to be concerned about, is yourself and your status and what your fate is going to be. But the reality is, the truth of the matter is, okay, your situation on Yawm al-Qiyamah is you at your absolute core. It's your rawest, the rawest, realist version of yourself, when all pretense is gone. Everything that every version of yourself that you ever conceived about yourself or tried to present to people, it's vanished, and it becomes just Nafsi, Nafsi. Well, this is who we are anyway. This is who we are in the dunya, to varying degrees. To whatever degree you have safety and security and stability and comfort in your life, you're able to think about other people. It's just like on an airplane when they tell you that if the plane starts to go down and the oxygen masks come down, you're supposed to put it on yourself before you put it even on your child. So at that moment, it's Nafsi, Nafsi. You're thinking about yourself, because you have to get yourself. Even you can say with a good intention, you have to take care of yourself. You have to secure yourself before you have the ability to help secure anyone else. Right? So we're already. It's at the core of our being to have self-interest. That's a core reality of human beings, and the extent to which your own self-interest is secure, you're able to think about others. That's generally the way people work. Now, you will encounter in your life some people who are absolutely selfless, but rarely. You'll have people who can present themselves as selfless. You'll find people who like to think of themselves as selfless, but in reality, they're not. Right? So, what I'm saying is, Husn adh-Dhann should not require me to think so positively and so generously and so charitably about someone that I am now imagining them to be such a rare human being as I have never met in my life. Husn adh-Dhann doesn't mean that I have to imagine that everybody is malaika, that everybody is an angel. Husn adh-Dhann doesn't mean that I have to project onto someone that their personality is so perfect and so righteous and so pure that they are unlike anyone that I ever met in my life. That's pretty extreme. That's not Husn adh-Dhann. That's delusional. So you can have because to me, I don't see it as a negative thing. When I look at someone's potential selfish motivation, self-centered motivation, I don't see that as a negative. That's just human. That's just realistic. To me, that doesn't constitute Su adh-Dhann. That doesn't constitute to me thinking evil about someone. It means thinking realistically about someone. Because there's compassion in that. I know that people are like that. Everybody has to think about themselves. Everyone has their own concerns. And in fact, if you don't go through life in this way, if you don't interact with people in this way, then you're going to have very unrealistic expectations of people, and you will be disappointed. And it's not fair for you to be disappointed because you had an unfair expectation of that person, because we're just humans. Everybody needs to take care of their own business. Everyone needs to take care of themselves. Everyone needs to take care of their family. And that will always come first to people. And that will always be the driving motivations in their life. One of, if not the most driving motivation in their life for everything that they do. And it should be that way. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to take care of your family. This is your responsibility. That's the only way that you can potentially be safe when the time comes when you're shouting Nafsi, Nafsi on Yawm al-Qiyamah, because you've been taking care of your responsibilities and your duties to yourself and to others. Your body has rights. Your life has rights that have to be taken care of. And if you're not taking care of those, then you can't take care of the rights of anybody else. So to me, again, I don't see it as making an evil assumption about someone. And you have to be realistic in your evaluation of people. And you have to be realistic about the fact that people are inherently selfish. Now, people can be selfish in the extreme, and that's what's negative. But being responsible in terms of your, being moderate, being practicing wasatiyah in your selfishness, that's the key. That's the key. And you have to understand that. And I think that even for activists, we need to understand that. Because whether you're talking about politicians, or you're talking about corporations, or you're talking about just regular people, you need to make you need to align your expectations of other people. You need to make align your expectations of corporations. You need to align your expectations of politicians, keeping in mind their selfish needs and their selfish motivations. I don't have another word for it. Selfish, it has negative connotations, but I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean people taking care of themselves and their own personal responsibilities, their own personal priorities, and so on. So you can't expect people to do things that are against their own interests. So you need to formulate your strategy around the assumption that everyone is pursuing their self-interest to one degree or another. And the best of people are the ones who are moderate about their self-interest, and they don't become decadent. They don't become, luxurious and indulgent and so on to the expense of others. But if you're not going to approach people, whether you're trying to mobilize people or you're trying to persuade people, if you're trying to mobilize people who are on your side, or whether you're trying to persuade people who are on the other side, you need to bear in mind that they will have their own self-interest, and you can't make demands upon them that cause them to violate and to undermine their own self-interest. That's not realistic. That's not a strategy that's going to work. You have to be able to craft your strategy in such a way that it allows people to preserve and to continue to pursue, to one extent or another, their own self-interest, while also achieving something that's positive and beneficial and virtuous and righteous and so on. That's why, that's the logic behind no justice, no profit. Because we know that corporations don't care about justice, but they care about profit. So we don't make our appeal to corporations on the basis of morality. Morality isn't a language that they understand. We make our appeal to corporations on the basis of profit, of what matters to them. In other words, if you want to serve your self-interest, this is the only way to do it, through supporting justice. See what I mean? So you could say that I'm not having a Husn adh-Dhann about, say, Unilever or, some other corporation, but it's just realistic. And I apply the same thing to a corporation as I would apply to people. I apply the same thing to people as I would to a corporation or to anyone, because everyone has self-interest. So when you're asking something of someone, you need to try to make sure that that what you're asking of them does not require them to abandon their own self-interest. And don't tell me that Husn adh-Dhann means that I have to think that everyone is like a kind of a person that I've never even met in my life. I will always make assumptions about people that they are normal people, not that they're some kind of angels, not that they're, on the level of the prophets or something. I will deal with people according to what I know about people and what I know about myself. You can think realistically about people and also think well of people at the same time. It's not a contradiction.